And welcome to Warriors headquarters, the Rakuten Performance Center, for Warriors Live as we get set for the Western Conference Semifinals, Warriors and Pelicans. It all starts on Saturday at Oracle Arena, and we get right to it. I'm Laurence Scott, joined by Warriors broadcaster Jim Barnett and our very special guest, Warriors assistant coach Mike Brown. And Coach, this Pelicans team, they sweep the Portland Trailblazers in the first round, and they're showing some signs of life over there as you guys get ready for this series. What are some of the key points of emphasis?
Yeah, you know, obviously they got a lot of talent. They played very well against Portland, and their superstars in particular showed up. Anthony Davis was a monster defensively, offensively, and especially on the glass. And then Drew Holiday was amazing. He was actually really fun to watch during that series because he almost got anything he wanted on the offense end of the floor, whether it was transition in the half court and early offense, even rebounding a couple of missed shots and making offense out of nothing. So you know, for us, we're going to have to get back in transition. They like to play fast. We're not going to stop Anthony Davis. You just hope that he doesn't get 40. But you know, we understand that Mirotic is playing really well for him. And when he shoots the ball from deep at a high clip and he's able to contribute, you know, 19, 20, 21 points in a particular ball game, that usually is enough to help them get over the hump.
I concur, and I think Mirotic is really interesting how he fell into their lap this year because of an altercation in Chicago, and they came out on the nice big end of the deal.
Yeah.
He only played one game against the Warriors in a New Orleans uniform, but he took 11 threes, made 6 of them, and he got 28 points. And to me, he's the outlier in the series for New Orleans. He just can make all the difference in the world, and you can't leave him, so you can't give help away from him on Anthony Davis, and it presents a problem. But they played so well in that first series, sweeping Portland. They've got a lot of confidence. And Rondo, you know, we thought he was washed up out of the league when he was in Dallas a couple of years ago, but he loves these moments, and he played extremely well in that whole series. And it's freed up, as Mike said, it frees up Drew Holiday to play the off guard. He doesn't have to worry about being the point guard. And he's had a heck of a series. I know one game he had 41 or 44 or something, but he can do everything offensively now. And they've shortened their lineup, their players. I think they're like an eight-man roster right now, if you will, for the playoffs. But they're a formidable team. They're playing with supreme confidence right now. And Anthony Davis, I don't think is a better player in the league right now.
You know, Coach, you look at what Rondo's doing, like Jim talked about. You've had the game plan for him over the years in different stops. But what is it now that he is contributing for that Pelicans team that has added a new dynamic to what their attack is?
Well, the biggest thing is he's settled everybody down, you know, including Alvin Gentry and the rest of the staff. They understand that they have a floor general out there, or a floor leader out there, that can get guys in the right spots. That can not only get guys in the right spots, but get the ball to the right people at the right time, which is extremely important. And so, yes, it takes pressure, a lot of pressure off of Drew Holiday, but it takes a lot of pressure off of the coaching staff and everybody else, because now they don't have to think, you know, every single play of what they need to do to get certain guys the ball in certain situations. And you take that with his ability to defend. And then when people leave him alone, he's already a heck of a passer. But if you think just because he can't shoot, I'm going to play off him, he will pick you apart. He can play make like the best of them. And so you have to respect his ability, not necessarily to shoot from deep, but make plays from deep, pass the ball from deep. So he's got to, we have to apply some pressure to him with the understanding of knowing that he is capable of blowing by us too.
What was learned in the opening round series against the Spurs? It was a competitive series, and that Game 5, close game at the end. But in total, what was learned by this team as now we got our sea legs here in the playoffs?
Well, the biggest thing, it's the playoffs are a different ball game. You know, everybody was talking about San Antonio's not talented enough. You're going to sweep San Antonio. This is going to happen. That's going to happen. And you know what? San Antonio fought. They fought extremely well. They obviously won Game 4, and they took us down to the wire in Game 5. So, you know, we understand that every single minute that we're out on the floor, no matter who our competitor is, it's going to be a dogfight. And we have to continue to try to elevate our level of play on both ends of the floor, not just physically, but also mentally too, because teams are going to be well prepared to go at us. And so we have to, not only, again, like I said, be physically good, but also mentally good to combat anything that is thrown our way.
Coach, we love it. What a way to start off our Warriors Live show right here, right now, right off the top. Warriors assistant coach Mike Brown joining Jim Barnett and I. And we want you to get out to the games. Games 1 and 2 are at Oracle Arena. And when you look at all of what's coming here, Warriors and Pelicans, Games 1 and 2 at Oracle Arena, and a variety of things that fans can take part in. Out on the concourse, you have your picture taken with one of the Warriors players. Now, of course, it's a photo of them presented by Chase, but great Instagram opportunities in store and so much more. There's just a lot of excitement building. We'll talk about all of the different things that are available at Oracle Arena for this playoff series as we go. But as we're talking about that Spurs series, let's take a look back right now at how the series was won. 4 games, 2-1. The Warriors triumphant in Game 5, and now we look back at all the sights and sounds from Warriors and Spurs to get this playoffs going.
Game 5, baby, let's go!
Warriors! What is playing the Spurs in back-to-back seasons in the playoffs and just going against them regularly, what has that taught your team?
Well, I said before the series started that the Spurs always make you do the right things. You will be exposed if you're not attentive and boxing out and rotating and taking care of the ball. So I think last year was totally different than this year. This year, our team struggled coming into the playoffs, so the Spurs helped us kind of get our game back in terms of forcing us to defend and pay attention to detail. And obviously, without Kawhi, their team is totally different. But their guys just fought like crazy and made us earn everything we got.
JB, we were talking about it in the break, and you look at a regular season series against the Pelicans. That means virtually nothing now that the playoffs are here. Why is that?
And just
because everything goes to another level.
Well, I said before the series started that the Spurs always make you do the right things. You will be exposed if you're not attentive.
I think they're pretty shocked that they swept
boxing
that
out and rotating
they beat the 3 seed,
taking care of the ball. So I think
they
last year was totally.
And 9th place, almost out of the playoffs. They got into the playoffs. They could have easily been out of the playoffs. But now they sweep that series, and they've got supreme confidence. And Anthony Davis has been a monster. They're really, really happy with their defense. And they don't know whether Stephen Curry is going to play or not, because that changes everything. Because they made it very difficult. The 2 primary scorers in Portland, Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum, every time they penetrated inside the lane area, inside the free throw line area, they were double teamed because Anthony Davis could leave his man, because the wings for Portland aren't shooters. So you're going to see that a lot in this series. If Andre Iguodala's playing and Draymond Green playing together, you're going to see people drop off them and try to make double teams on Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and if Steph Curry is playing as well as him. And a lot of times that's Anthony Davis from that weak side forward spot. They put him on, they'll put him on Draymond and let somebody else worry about McGee or David West, Pachulia, whoever that may be, and let Anthony Davis take care of double teaming inside. And he's awfully big.
In all your years of basketball, on the broadcasting side and on the playing side, have you ever been in a situation with a team where a situation like what the Pelicans saw this year, where DeMarcus Cousins goes down, and you're looking at it, they're outside of the playoff picture at that moment. Dell Demps is racking his brain for, what are we going to do here? Yeah. Because it did look like without Twin Towers, that's a difficult situation for this team. But they find their spot. They make noise in the first round, and it's a different-looking team. Have you been in a situation where you had one all-star type player, a star player on your team or a team you're associated with go down, and it still turned out okay?
Not personally. I've seen that happen before, and it certainly happened with New Orleans, but you're asking me to go back and when I played in the league. Is that right?
Well, we'll get to the fact that you also played in New Orleans.
Yeah, I played in New Orleans
with the Jazz.
I'm just trying to think back through all the years to have a severe injury for an extended period of time. Usually, I can't think of any team that's overcome that like New Orleans has. Elgin Baylor played, I think, 9 games in the season that the Lakers won the championship, and they won a record 33 games, regular season games. But when Elgin Baylor went down, he was an old man. In those days, when you're 36 or 37, that was really old. And so he was one of the greatest players of all time. He went down, and they got better because somebody else came in and started playing his spot. But it was kind of a different scenario. Very, very interesting. What happened in New Orleans, they started to go small. So without Cousins, they can't play. I'll tell you, that would have been a formidable team back in the 60s and 70s where you played with centers. Now you have 2 of them, they'd have been one of the better teams. But the game is different nowadays. And so they start essentially 3 guards. They start Rondo, they start Holiday, and they start Etuan Moore, who's about 6'5", and he shoots a lot of threes. He's a three-point shooter. So they essentially start 3 guards now. They've gone small.
So when Coach Brown was on the set, we alluded to the many ways that you can enjoy games 1 and 2 at Oracle Arena. And as you make your way out to a Warriors playoff game, and we hope that you certainly do during this series because it will be electric. Games 1 and 2, of course, at Oracle Arena. And there's a variety of things going on. They're wrapping up practice here and blowing the horn because they want to get down to business here. But when you think of what's to come, well, a variety of things. Also, at the games, out on the plaza, if you do head out to Oracle Arena this weekend or for what will be Game 2, and we'll still learn when Game 2 will be, you got a whole bunch of stuff going on. The NBC Sports Bay Area set and studio is out on the plaza. Folks getting ready. You know, folks in New Orleans, through all of their love of sports, the Saints and the Pelicans, they love a party. They love to get loud. And it's true that Warriors fans in this environment that is Oracle Arena over the years have risen to the occasion. It's going to be important in this series because you could tell watching those games when they started feeling that they could sweep the Trailblazers, that the Smoothie King Center was just erupting. It was a carnival-like environment.
Yeah, and that's a sports team down there, the New Orleans and the NBA. They really haven't had a whole lot to cheer about through all of the years. When they were the Jazz back when I played, we weren't very good at that time. They got better later on, but then of course they moved to Utah. See, so it's still a new sport for them down there, and their support is growing. And I guarantee they're going to be on fire because of Anthony Davis and what they did in that first round.
You know, another exciting team in New Orleans for a time period was that Hornets team that featured Chris Paul and Warriors forward David West on that team, and they made some noise and excited a fan base that has really been frothing up because it was 2015 when the Warriors and Pelicans last played in the playoffs. That was the first round. The Warriors end up sweeping the Pelicans that one. Stephen Curry with an unbelievable game in Game 3, a corner 3-point shot that just sank the air out of that arena, and it really created a turn of events that in many ways probably did propel the Warriors to the next round, and what became a finals run.
Yeah, and it was a miracle shot. The Warriors were going to lose that game, and of course that one game can change the series. The Warriors would not have swept, but they did sweep in that year. Every year is different, and there are always surprises, and that's why this Mirotic, Nikola Mirotic, he's going to be a real focus of attention defensively for the Warriors. And New Orleans has gotten better defensively. They were pretty bad, but in the playoffs they got in that first round they got much better and much improved. So we'll see if the Warriors, who really didn't have a great offensive series against San Antonio, and in Game 5 at home when they won, for the most part of that fourth quarter, they went 4 or 5 minutes without scoring. And so that's going to be a challenge for them to see if they can get their offense back into shape. And, of course, if Stephen Curry can play, that makes all the difference in the world.
So many stories to share. We want to bring in one of the guys chronicling the events as they unfold here during the playoffs for the San Francisco Chronicle. His name is Connor Letourneau. He is the Warriors beat writer. And as we also consider that now that the TV games on NBC Sports Bay Area are over, you move over to the radio side with Tim Roy,
right?
Yes. And you can listen to those broadcasts on 95.7 The Game. You'll hear JB and Tim. And when you check out the paper in the morning, like today's paper, for instance, an article about Darren Ehrman, where Connor talks about a former Warriors assistant coach and gets in touch with him and has sort of that story to share. We wanted to go a little bit deeper. Here's our conversation, taped a little bit earlier, because here they got open media availability here at the Warriors practice facility, the Rakuten Performance Center, and Connor's a little bit busy, so we caught up with Connor just before the doors opened. Here's our conversation with Connor Letourneau of the San Francisco Chronicle. So, Connor, many themes that will entice folks because there's some history with Alvin Gentry and Ian Clark and even Darren Ehrman. You're following this in your work with the Chronicle and covering this series. But let's start with the Steve Kerr, Alvin Gentry ties, and they run deep.
No, definitely. Obviously, their ties go way back to the Phoenix days when Steve was the general manager there, and Alvin started out as an assistant and then ended up staying on and eventually getting promoted to head coach when Steve was still there. And when Steve got the job here, his first head coaching job, his first coaching job really ever, the first person that he called was Alvin Gentry and said, "Hey, do you want to be my number two, my associate head coach?" And they were partners in building what ended up being a pretty historic offense. Obviously, there were a lot of wrinkles that they worked on together to build what the Warriors are running today. And they had a lot of success that first season together, won the 2015 NBA title, and Alvin was able to parlay that into the head coaching job with the Pelicans, and they remain close friends to this day.
You know, you think of that time period and, of course, Alvin Gentry, like you said, and also Ron Adams as the defensive coordinator on the Pelican side. There's a guy who was a Warriors assistant, Darren Ehrman, a lawyer by trade, who really bright guy who's made a big difference with their defense. And you just had something in the paper about Ehrman and his time here and also with what it's making an impact to be in New Orleans. What did you learn from him?
Yeah, so Darren Ehrman is, in my opinion, he's probably the architect of this defense. You know, for a long time, the Warriors were a team that was all about outscoring opponents. And under Mark Jackson, they finally started to buy into defense. And Darren Ehrman was kind of the defensive coordinator under Mark Jackson. Obviously, Mike Malone got a lot of credit, but Darren Ehrman introduced the ice, which is basically how they defend pick and rolls, which this league is so predicated on pick and rolls. And he also was really key in the defensive development of Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, guys who are obviously still key to this team. And since he's gone to the Pelicans, he's helped them make phenomenal strides the past couple of years defensively. They were one of the worst teams in the league defensively when he got there. Now they're up in the top half, and they did a great job against Portland. And I think a lot of that was because of his ability to game plan for the backcourt the Blazers have. So I'm curious to see what he schemes up against Golden State. It's going to be fun to watch.
And let us not forget, Quinn Cook was a Pelican, but also on the Warriors last year, Ian Clark, and a champion who has brought his talents to NOLA. Ian, what has he been providing this season for the Pelicans?
He's provided a nice scoring punch off the bench. He actually has a very similar role to what he had with the Warriors last season. And I think it's interesting because the Warriors wanted to bring him back. They would have brought him back. They just thought that because of the nice season he had last season, that he would demand a multi-year deal in free agency, and they just weren't able to offer that. But unfortunately for Ian, the way free agency went last year, he did not get a multi-year deal, ended up actually signing with the Pelicans for a minimum one-year deal, which in hindsight, the Warriors would have given him that. But it's definitely the Pelicans' game because he's been a nice bench option for a bench where they don't really have a lot of weapons. So he's been key for them.
All right, great talking with Connor Letourneau of the San Francisco Chronicle. Read his stuff. And if you're looking to get out to Oracle Arena for games 1, 2, or 5, and hopefully there isn't a 5, and the Warriors make some magic of their own and sweep the Pelicans, Warriors.com/playoffs is the place to start, and a variety of things in store at Oracle Arena, including the NBC Sports Bay Area crew out on the plaza. The United Airlines Papa Shot outside, too, is something to check out, as well as Chase presenting great Instagram opportunities all throughout the concourse where you can have your picture taken with a variety of murals that we have all throughout Oracle Arena. Get your tickets for games 1 and 2 as the Warriors start this series, the Western Conference semifinals, against the New Orleans Pelicans. And, you know, these live streams, they take a group effort. Want to thank Michaela and Victor for their work on the camera. Of course, Warriors Studios with executive producer Paul Hawkins and Blake Wilberding, the director of production, making a big mark here, as well as Michael Leslie, who scrambled to make sure that we got that interview with Connor Letourneau on tape there.
You mean Andy Dufresne?
That's a Shawshank Redemption, if I've ever heard one before.
I know Connor, but the first time I saw him, I said, "You're Andy Dufresne," and he had no idea who Andy Dufresne was, the Shawshank Redemption. And so half the time I call him Connor, and half the time I call him, Andy. Hey, Andy, how's it going? He expects it right now, but he's yet to see the movie.
Right, you should buy him a cold beer.
I told him, I said, rent the movie, I'll pay for it. You've got to see the movie, so he'll understand then.
Also, and we cannot forget the digital staff, the one, the only, D-Brew, Daniel Brusilovsky, running that hot fire that is the switcher and making things happen, as well as Andy Fahey and his entire crew. And we didn't stick Andy Fahey with the ticket giveaway because there are tickets to be had for games 1 and 2 by going to warriors.com/playoffs. And JB, we go to New Orleans quite a bit. There's been 2 All-Star games in New Orleans over the past 4 or 5 years, and the Warriors play there twice a year, pretty much, when facing the team from the Western Conference, being the Pelicans, at least once a year at the Smoothie King Center. And we get out. A couple of years ago, you and I went over to Mr. B's and got some barbecue shrimp.
That was
really good stuff.
That was good.
You played in New Orleans back when. When you go back, what are your haunts?
I like different streets. I try to stay away from Bourbon Street and the places there. Although I go way down, and I like to go to the bar that John Lafitte.
The blacksmith shop.
Yes. It was a blacksmith shop, exactly. But great food there.
Yeah.
But I hope I don't have to, remember that night I came back at about 4:30 in the morning and had to pick you off the bar floor and you were passed out?
It was embarrassing,
no,
truthfully told.
I'm only kidding, folks.
There actually was a night we were walking down a side
That is
street.
not true. That is not true.
Hey, let them think it's true.
That's not true.
Add some air of mystery about me.
But there are people like that, though, there.
Well, there was one night you and I were walking back down the street and somebody dumped a bucket of water on
Yes, they were on top of a building and throwing water balloons and such. So it was kind of dangerous a little bit. But anyway.
Usually it's just beads by the crew, but that night it was a full bucket of water. Anyway, you have it. The series will shift for games 3 and 4 to New Orleans, and if you're a Warriors fan looking for a real adventure, Jazz Fest is also taking place in New Orleans at the exact same time, and we've had some good opportunities to share some music. I mean, last time that we were in New Orleans, I got a chance to talk with both Kermit Ruffins and Irvin Mayfield for our show NBA Sound System, and love those guys.
Who's that musician we met in one of the restaurants?
Dr. John.
Dr. John, yeah.
That was impressive.
Yeah, remember Dr. John?
Great.
You went over and talked to him?
The Gree was that was tremendous. I'm so glad you remembered that.
Yeah,
Dr.
good.
John, a New Orleans music legend, on hand for one of the nights that we were walking around. If you want to enjoy this series, not just at Oracle Arena, but you're thinking about heading out to New Orleans, always a party in New Orleans. And the Warriors are all about business, though. These are business trips, and this is serious stuff for this team because when you look at what would be to come, we still don't know if it's going to be Oklahoma City or Utah facing off against the Houston Rockets. That will be game 6 tonight between those two teams. And it's back in Utah.
One step at a time for the Warriors.
But
their goal is that championship trophy. There's no question about it. And Steph Curry is going to come back in this series, whether it be game 1 or game 2. He's been practicing the last 2 days. We just saw him. By the way, you didn't see him. We're looking this way. I just saw him walk back into the dressing room, and I watched practice today, and he looked very, very good. I've always said if you can practice hard, why can't you play? So we'll find out tomorrow.
Well, you know what? Let's keep this thing going. And you know why?
Yeah.
We're not done yet. We're going to bring a former Pelican to the set hopefully very soon.
Wow.
We thought we were going to wrap up, but we're going to vamp here for just a quick second. And while we vamp, we want to bring you a little bit of information about how to get to games 1 and 2, warriors.com/playoffs. Your opportunity to get to the arena. A lot of festivities outside the United Airlines Pop-A-Shot, something to check out. Concourse level, photos, Instagram opportunities with the murals. And now we're very, very happy to be joined by, I would say, a surprise guest. We have a little corner bar that says who's coming, and we have a thing that says like some special guest. And the special guest, a very special guest, a guy who's playing for the Pelicans and now is a Warrior through and through, making his mark with this team. The one, the only, Quinn Cook joins us. Quinn, playoffs, man. That first round, good stuff. You guys started getting acclimated to what this will be for you and what the team is seeing as they kind of get things going here and look forward to the Pelicans. How did that first round help things?
It was great to play against a well-coached, Spurs team. You always know what to expect from them. They're never going to quit. They're going to make you work for shots. They're going to make you work on defense. And, for that to be our first round was a great round for us. I thought that we dialed in, we locked in, we had great practices, great film, and, guys were ready to play. And, so all the young guys are getting confidence. A lot of the guys been here, so they know what to do, and we're just following our leaders.
Quinn, what a story for you this year, and you've had short stints in the NBA before, but now to be signed to a contract coming in, unfortunately Stephen Curry gets hurt, but yet that's a great fortune for you, and here you are now with a contract. Just tell us about your little trip this year, physically, psychologically, emotionally, the roller coaster you've been on, and now you are playing in the playoffs for the defending champion Golden State Warriors.
It's just all about opportunity. A lot of guys, get in right situations, and a lot of guys don't get in right situations, are presented one opportunity or a couple opportunities. It's all about your opportunity, and are you, ready when your opportunity comes. For me, coming here with the Warriors, if I would have played 0 games, I would have been practicing the same way, preparing the same way, and I just wanted to learn, as much as I could this year. And unfortunately, Steph got hurt a little bit, Pat got hurt, Clay, Kevin. So, I was forced to play some extended minutes, and I took advantage of the opportunity. And I just wanted to keep learning, keep, being aggressive, which helps everybody else, but just keep being a sponge around all these guys. And it's a dream come true for me to be playing the playoffs. But obviously, with the defending champions, I can't be happier.
It's also fun. I think your bank account has different numbers in it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, I would be here for free. I would be here for free.
People always say that. I understand it, but it's nice to have.
No, I mean, but it's about the dream for me. It's about the dream. A lot of times you can go overseas and make some guaranteed money, but I chose the route for the D League and not making a lot of money. But for me, it was about the dream, and I just always wanted to play in the NBA.
When you look at your time with New Orleans, and we'll wrap things up with this question. You were at a time with the team where they were kind of building in a different way. It's a different looking team, but the foundation that Alvin Gentry, Darren Erman, Dell Demps, those guys that are trying to, make a real contender here. What was it that you sensed? What will be the real challenges with this unit from what you saw on the inside with New Orleans?
I mean, we do a lot of the same things. Obviously, Erman being here for a lot, and then Gent being here for a lot. They implement the same things, and so when I was there and then coming here, it was a quicker pickup for me because I was doing a lot of the same things last year and all summer. So, I know Coach Steve and Coach Gent, they talk a lot. They're really close. Coach Gent called Steve for me, when they were about to sign me, and he said some great things. So, I know it'll be a fun series just to play against those guys. They're playing their best basketball right now. They're peaking at the right time, so it'll be a good challenge for us.
Quinn Cook has always been part of some incredible programs. You go back to DeMatha High School and Coach Wooten, and one of your guys growing up and friends, he's making his name in this NBA playoffs as an all-star this year too, Victor Oladipo, and you see what he does with the Pacers in that series against the Cavs here, and then Duke in a national championship, and then just the time growing up in Maryland and knowing Kevin Durant and what he is all about. We want to wrap things up here on Warriors Live and thank JB, Jim Barnett, and Mike Brown, who came on a little bit earlier, and all the folks who made this thing happen, as well as Quinn Cook dropping by here at the very end, looking back at the efforts in the community, which is often our home communities. And it's a home for where Quinn came from and where Kevin Durant is from. And all of these efforts are combining in what was the Community Assist Award, opportunity for Kevin Durant to win in the month of January, which now makes him eligible for the opportunity to be the year-long recipient of this award. And we want you to vote. There's some information on the screen for all the folks who made this thing possible. I'm Laurence Scott with JB, Quinn Cook, and all the crew. Thank you so much for joining us. And remember to vote Durant. We'll see you soon.
At the start of 2018, Kevin Durant was celebrated for his work in the community as the NBA Cares Community Assist Award winner for the month of January. joining a handful of other players from around the league now in consideration for this year's season-long award honors. His commitment to education initiatives has been highly notable, with direct involvement and over $13 million donated to a wide variety of programs and projects in the places he's called home. This includes a major commitment to college track in his native Maryland, as well as the new Center for Sports Leadership and Innovation at his alma mater, the University of Texas. Court refurbishments around the globe, involvement in Make-A-Wish and Boys and Girls Clubs, plus donations to various Bay Area charities, has been joined by his efforts to host nearly 1,000 children and their families at Warriors games this season. Education and inspiring youth to strive for greatness at the center of it all. Join us in recognizing his full slate of community efforts as we support Kevin Durant for NBA Care's season-long Community Assist Award honors.